Hello everybody, hi, it's Sue Ricks here, and I'm really glad to be joining you. So I'm hoping that today we're going to have a number of different people coming on, and feel free to ask your questions, because this is our chance to get together to talk about reflexology and more things, as in reflexology, foot reading and energy and chakras, and a lot of things energy. So this is following on from the one that we did last weekend, where we were talking about virtual reflexology, and we're going to be on again next weekend doing a group session. And I've popped this session on because, oh hi Dorothea, hi. I wanted to be able to provide that little space for us to be able to get together and have a bit of chat about how reflexology can weave through a number of different subjects. Because certainly when I came into reflexology, it was very much about reflexology. That's it, that's what we're doing. And it was very much about the physical. And fortunately now we've moved into the fact that there's so much that's energetic that's going on. There's so much of the emotional understandings, and we've reached out into wonderful things as in foot reading. So this was where I thought it might be good, and this is actually based on questions that I've had from people, and I really am very grateful, and I want to say a big thank you to everybody who's been in touch and appreciated the videos that I've been doing, because it really makes it wonderful to know that you're watching and that it's helping you. So I'm really glad that it is helping in some way, and if I can help you in any way with this session, then please feel free to put the questions forward, because yet again on this lovely session I am being supported by the amazing Light Up Creative. And they will be picking up the questions, and I'll be picking up the questions, and I'll be able to see some of them as we go along. Now, if I don't answer your question today, maybe I'll be able to answer it after this session. Maybe I'll answer it over the next few days. I do my very best to get back to everybody, and as you can imagine, I do get quite a few questions and comments and things. So if I don't get back to you immediately, please bear with me, and I hope that I'll be able to be with you in a while. So whilst we wait, can I please ask you, do you have a contact number best to ask some questions about your course? Nikki, yes, the best way to get hold of me is to email me, because that's the most easily accessible for me. So if you want to ask me any questions at all about courses or bespoke work and working with me one-to-one, then just contact me through courses@suericks.com. If that isn't working and we can't get hold of each other, then I'll give you alternative ways, but that really is the best way to get hold of me. Just email me courses@suericks.com. I would be absolutely delighted to talk to you about any of the courses, because I know myself, when I've been looking at courses, I can't always pick up exactly what it is that the course is and what's it about, but also what's the experience going to be like for me. And actually, a lot of the courses that I've done, and you may know, I've done a lot of courses over the years. Some of the courses I've chosen to do one-to-one, because there are some things that I know that I'm very comfortable with, and there's some things that I know that I'm not comfortable with. So I have found that one-to-one works incredibly well for me, and I have been very fortunate that the tutors I've turned to have been happy to work one-to-one with me. And as I've said to you before, I'm a huge believer in having a mentor and somebody to work with. So even now I have mentors. So if you want to ask me about courses, you want to ask me about the distance learning courses, the one-to-ones, or anything, email me the questions and I will get back to you, or we'll arrange to be able to speak over the phone at a mutually agreeable time. But don't ever worry about asking questions about courses. And I'd say that to anybody and any tutor. If you want to be able to do some work with a tutor, feel free to email them and ask them questions about their courses, because all of us will be really happy to share that information with you, even though we may have information stuff on the website, because we may have forgotten the most obvious question, and I may have not put something up about the course that you wanted to know and I've not thought about it. So please feel free to contact me anytime about any courses. Hi Alex, hi Sunshine. Lots of love to you and to all of your students. So if we can start off with a little bit, and feel free, so do ask questions this time. So going to just talk a little bit about how to be able to integrate a layering, and I'm going to be using some of my charts. I've got loads of charts, so there's a big pack of charts that I have, and I'm going to be featuring a number of these charts in this session. So the first chart, a pleasure, Nikki. So the first chart that I'm going to be talking about is the reflexology chart. This is my reflex chart. This is the gentle touch reflexology chart. And this is the chart that I'm going to, Spiros, hi from Greece. Hello, sunshine. So this is what I wanted to reference to you, is about how to integrate the reflex points with some foot reading information and with some energy and chakra information, so that we can start to do a weave. And what I mean by that is that when I came into reflexology, and it was very, it's all about the physicality. So it's 30 years ago, when my son was born. That what I was thinking about is the whole way of being able to get into reflexology from my learning was very physical, and I didn't really understand how to weave the whole emotional and the energetic side. But actually, it's really easy. And not only is it easy, in my view, it's fun, and I like to have fun. I like to really, really enjoy what I'm doing, and I think that it gives us the opportunity to become like a detective and go, right, so my clients come in with this particular issue, and they've talked to me about that issue, because we all know that our clients are the expert in their condition, don't we? And strangely enough, I've had a phone call today from one of my clients. And thank you very much, Laura. Your charts look amazing. I love the colours. I love the colours too. So one of the things that happened today is I got this call from my client, and I remember when this client first came, and he talked very, 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 very clearly. I mean, I had to behave because when he started, he was very, very, very businesslike, and he was like, boom, 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 you will listen to me. And he talked to me about all his health problems, and I realised that underneath was this wonderful sort of soppy, lovely, I don't know how to do life guy underneath, and everything that was on his feet completely correlated with that. So over the years we have been working on some of those, and he comes along on a regular, irregular basis. And he rang me today because, like a lot of us, he's really missing his sessions, and he rang me to say if I could do another virtual session. And those of you who were with us on the session last Sunday know how fabulous these virtual sessions are. So although he came along with a really physical issue, and I might have been addressing that on the physical reflex chart, what actually has been going on and I've been working on addressing is a very emotional thing, and I can read a huge amount about what's going on his feet by what's happening and what I can see when he comes in. Now, he's not the sort of person that I can talk about the things that I'm going to talk to you about, because it's not really that sort of guy, right? But we have a brilliant connection, and I can seem to just talk to him in a way that he's okay with. And we had quite an in-depth chat today about something, and we talked about something that he's going to have a little word with his lovely partner with, to see if he can get some help on that level as well. So in knowing what's going on, when we recognise people's feet, you can see what's going on. So I want to talk to you a little bit more about what that word detective means in my way of thinking. So our clients are the experts, aren't they? Absolutely. They are just brilliant. And they come in and they just say they go just like, don't they, with all of their stuff. And what we really want to be able to do is try and read between the lines of what they're saying to us, because we have the actor and the actress who comes in and goes, right, this is the facade, this is what I'm going to tell you, but there's more about me going underneath. And the more you get into doing about personal growth and development, the more that we realise there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about ourselves, but maybe we can read about our clients. And if we can help to read more about our clients, we can start to read more about ways that we can be creative in our treatment planning and in the way that we approach people, and the way whether we choose to speak with them or not speak with them, or whether we adapt our treatment plans in certain different ways. So when they do the initial consultation, the consultation is gold, absolutely gold. It's the time when they talk to us, they tell us, they splurge all their everything to us, and they give us so much information. And I'll do some more sessions, and there's a lot of information about how to do initial consultations on the Academy. I know loads of you are on the Academy, and we've got some more stuff coming about the initial consultation too. But what I say to you is, all of your learning that you've done about initial consultations, or if you want to learn more, get into it, really listen, really pay attention, and find out, is it right hand side, is it left hand side, when did that happen, when did it start, how big's the problem, all those things that we learn when we come into reflexology. And make actual notes, because that's what you do with the initial consultation, but also make mental notes of, oh, that's interesting. And I personally think it's the biggest fun ever, just getting all those information things and going, oh, that's interesting, that links to this, that links to that. Because when we then start to create a treatment plan, I'm just going to say a message here from Denise. Hi Denise from Niagara Falls. I love you in Niagara Falls. We've been over, I can't think how many times we've been to Niagara Falls now, but we've been very blessed to go many times. So it's lovely to see you connecting here, and thank you from the Falls. We had a funny experience at the Falls. The first time we went, we sat in a coffee shop looking at the Falls, and a lady came up and sat at the table and went, well, aren't they disappointing? And I was sitting there going, this is wow. And she went, well, when you've seen such and such falls, these are pathetic. And I was like, I'd rather have my life. I think they're amazing. And I've still got the coffee cup that I used, that we had, what we bought at Niagara Falls. I use it all the time when we go out. So hi Kim, hi lovely. So we've got the reflex points that we're going to think about when they tell us. So if they tell us that they've got a problem, and I thought that I might go through one which is very topical at the moment, which is lungs. I wonder why I've chosen that as a time now. So here we are. If you're watching this to a later time, this is at the time when we're currently in lockdown because of the coronavirus. So the lung reflex point, which we in reflexology are all very familiar with, is here. And on my charts, if I put that up there, yeah, so there's my fingers on the lung reflex point just there. Right, these are colour coded. So when we're working through the lungs, so on my little plastic feet here, right, the lung reflex is right across here. So as we see from here, the colour green. So green, and that's why I want to now go, I'm going to be flipping charts. Please hope you can cope with this. So if I now hold up the chakra chart, and very simply, and I want to keep this really simple because I like to keep life simple. Right, if we just put, okay, where's the green? Put your finger on it. Yeah. Right, which chakra does that relate to? So here it says heart chakra. Oops, where am I going? That way. So here it says heart chakra. Dave's probably got a better way of being able to show this. So the heart chakra, and then if you can zoom in on it a bit there, it says green. So down on the heart center, it says green. So the heart center is about affairs of the heart. It's about peace and love and acceptance and loving, and love goes in that lovely, ideally it goes in a really big beautiful infinity loop. So we give and we receive love. So let's go back. So green is about love. So the lungs are about love, which is why they're also associated with grief if people are going through times of grief. And one of the things that's been really tough during this COVID crisis is that if people have lost relatives, and it is a sad thing that it happens naturally anyway, and we've had the extra number because of the COVID crisis, then there's been additional things because it's difficult to be able to get to people and to hug people and support people at funerals and etc. So there has been a real demand for extra support, hence the virtual reflexology. So we said that they're green, so we know that it's about love. So we know it's about the heart centre, and I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. But if you look at it on here, it goes from a bluey colour up here down to a yellowy colour down here. So there you go, Dave's put the chart up, so that's really good. So you can see that at the top is the blue, where it shows you up towards the eustachian tubes and the blue line, and then coming down, it's more down towards the yellow. Thanks, Dave. So as we move through the areas, we know that the more the blue, it relates to communication, because that's flip chart. So blue is the throat chakra, and throat chakra is about communication. Right, and then the lower area of the lungs moves down into the yellow, so that's more down into the solar plexus area, because yellow on here is, where's my solar plexus? It's funny, in fact, you can read things really easily, can't you, when you're right way up, but when you're upside down, particularly when you're dyslexic, reading upside down, it's like, that's exciting. So the yellow is the solar plexus. Wonderful, Dave, thank you very much. So we've got the blue and the yellow. So the main area of the lungs is very much to do with the simplicity of love. Yeah, very much about love. So anybody who comes along to see you, right, it's about love. Now that's going to link in a very important way. Hi Bernie, love to you in Florida. Love to you. Thank you. It's very kind of you saying you like the way I'm explaining things. I appreciate that, because I can get everything in a knot, but I just like to keep it simple. Right, so now when we do foot reading, and when I came into foot reading, and my journey into foot reading is really, really simple again. It's the fact that when I came into reflexology, and it was very physical, I had all of these clients, and they all seemed to have similar types of feet, and they seemed to have similar types of personality, and actually they all had similar colours. So in foot reading, where's my foot reading thing, which has got the colours on the back? Here we go. So this is where about the different colours, and I found that a lot of people had got very similar colours on their feet. So I started making notes, and nobody can read my writing, so it took me ages to transcribe it. But that's where my journey into foot reading came along. And then I realised that I wasn't the only bonkers one, as I have said in person to Christine Stormer-Fryer and to Jane Sheehan. And I think there's a slight crazy streak in all of us who are into that sort of thing. So if you're into foot reading, which I know loads of you are, welcome to the happy band. So if we then look at the lung area on here, wait a minute, let me do the charts up. Every time I do this course, I'm flipping charts left, right and centre. So if we look at the ball of the foot here, lungs, ball of the foot here, it says, whoops, feelings. So we know that it's all about the feelings. So I'm now going to go to the Fantastic Feet book, because this shows you, if you do those 2 pages, so you've got the feelings right across the lung area, but then we've got across here, we've got a double space. Yeah, so the double space here is an extra special double feeling space, and I'll tell you how you know about that. Can we access these beautiful charts somewhere? Jamie, you can. They're on my website, yeah, sueweeks.com. Just go to sueweeks.com products. You'll find a pack of 8 charts. So it's all of these different charts, and they come a lovely cellophane. I can't hold them all up here, and there's a couple over there, but you'll get a big selection of charts, and I send them all over the world. And thank you to Dave behind the scenes who helps me to make them. I've got 2 more coming as well. So when we're looking at foot reading, so your clients come in and maybe they get repeated, let's say something like bronchitis. You know, it's winter, they get a bad cold, it goes to my chest. How many times have we heard something like that? So you're looking across and you're feeling on the different ways that you all do your own different reflexes. This is not about technique, this session at all. Right, this is, so you're going to be doing whatever you're going to be doing, and if you want to watch any of the techniques that's on the Where have I got it? So all of the techniques, if you want to know about how to do the techniques, are, you see I'm so organised, they're on the desk here somewhere, here we go. So they're all on this DVD, which you can watch online, Gentle Touch Reflexology. It's all on the Academy. It's described in the Babies and Children book. So you don't have to wait for one of these sessions. You can go and get it from various different resources. So you might be working through the reflexes in whichever way you're working across the reflexes for the lungs. And you come across an area, or it's really obvious, right, where there's an area which doesn't feel right or it doesn't look right. So it might feel hard, it might have hard skin, and the common spot is here. Yeah? So this is a bit where we often find they have a lot of hard skin here, and people say it's the shoes, and it is. But it's also an indication of what's going on. So let's just go for, because I mean I could talk for days about this, but I just want to keep it to the easy peasy bits. So let's just talk about this bit here, right? Well, they've often got a lot of hard skin. So let's have a look at what that means. So on the chart here, we've already said, right, it's the feeling area across here. But also, if I hold this up, when you're going to go down, yeah, right, so there you go. Oh, very clever, Dave, well done. All right, so you can actually then see that it's the thoughts and the feelings. So thoughts here, whoops, thoughts there, and then feelings. So underneath the second toe, it's all about feelings. And then if we scroll down, you can see that that then carries on. Well done, Dave. So through the feeling area, and I'm now on that area there. So if I now pick up my book, or Dave might be able to show me quicker than I can, on where you do the combi section. Oh, he's done it. Yeah, so if you look on there, you can see where it says the drama. So you can see the two faces. So that's feelings going across and feelings going down. So Dave's holding up that chart, so I should keep that with me as well. Oops. And then, so on here, you can see that it's a doubler. So where this white spot is here, right, it's the doubler. So it's the same. Whoops, there's my finger moving across to there, which is where we were seeing it before. That's it, just there. So you can see where feelings going across and feelings going down. When you say horizontal and vertical to me, I have to work out what does that mean. So I often say across and down. So then what we're back to is that spot there. So that's often got hard skin on it. Well, hard skin is about extra protection. So you've protected yourself. And I say to people, because I always think that everything that we say to people, it needs to be uplifting, right? Even if it's about something that's not very nice. When you see this, it means that they're protecting. So I will say to people, oh, lovely. I'm so pleased to see that you know how to protect yourself. Yeah, this bit of hard skin here shows that you're protecting yourself because you need to protect yourself at times. You don't sometimes, don't you? Because there will be, otherwise where would they have that hard skin there? But then that hard skin becomes really interesting. So now let's look at the colour. So the colours become really significant. So there's the colour chart. There it is. So if the colour, so we're looking at it, if it's yellow, yeah, you can see that it means that they're fed up. So, and this is on the back of all of the foot reading charts. So if it's really yellow, it means that they're fed up. Another way to remember it is they're cheesed off, and the other way to remember it is they're pissed off. So if they've got a big ridge of hard skin here, it just means they're fed up, cheesed up, pissed off, right? And so there's something that's going on in their feelings, which we know that it's their feelings. So they've got come along with lung problems. So maybe they have, in fact, actually somebody called to see me yesterday, and they've had for about 7 years since their medication changed. They've had a sort of a random cough that happens at certain times. What I've noticed is that when she's been talking about things that they're awful, heck are awful, she's annoyed about, or whatever, she coughs. And for me, it's a little bit of a, oh, that's interesting. Another little cough. There we go. That's a little thought thing that's going on inside. So if this is really yellow, we know what that means. It means that the lung area to do with feelings is that they're feeling a bit fed up. But sometimes this area looks a bit white. So what does white mean? So white, let's get the line on there. So white, that way, yeah, means that they are exhausted, withdrawn, empty and washed out. So we know that when they're, it's just, how lovely, such a positive slant. Love it. Made me realise how much I am missing all my clients. Yes, Laura, we are so missing our clients. Having said that, what a lovely chat I had with my client today. And I have to say, I felt so blessed that he knew that he could ring me because he wanted to talk. Yeah, and we talked. And hopefully we managed to talk about some really important things that set him up on the straight and narrow. And we booked to do a proper, because I can't just slip straight into doing a virtual session. I need to like book it in my head and be in the right place and space. I can switch out, but I have what I call my headspace. I have to switch heads. It's almost like the hats. I have to take my teaching hat off, or my mummy hat off, or I have to take my partner hat off, or whatever hat off, to be able to get into my mode. And he knew that he could ring me and I'd have a chat, and I did. So I was in the garden, had a chat with him, came in, and that was a lovely thing. So when you're looking at this, we said it might be yellow, we said it might be white, but it could also have a sort of grey, sort of a grey type of blacky hue to it. So that's why I wanted to talk about the hue colours. Hue as in H-U-E. In other words, it's like how yellow is yellow and how green is green. Yeah. Well, the black colours, so black is to do with hurt. So black is to do with hurt. So we know that they are feeling, because it's their lungs, and now we know that they're feeling hurt, and maybe they're a bit tired, and maybe they're a bit hacked off, pissed off, cheesed off, whatever it is as well. So we're getting a bit more level of depth of information about what's going on. So now I want to take it a bit further. I just find this really good fun. I hope you do too. So we said it might be yellow. Yeah, so let's put my finger on the yellow. So yellow here, solar plexus. Right, so when we're looking at the yellow solar plexus, right, it actually, the solar plexus is that, you know, here, if you haven't had a shock, is, and it relinks into, if you've not been, if you've had a bit of a surprise, a bit of a shock, that's that area. But it can be quite painful and hurt, and we all know about it in reflexology. But it's also, as you can see, it's right in the centre underneath the breastbone. So if you're new into reflexology and you haven't done a lot of energy work yet, where that lovely yellow swirl is, and it's drawn as a swirl because it does move, it does go round. That's what we want it to do. So when we're looking at this yellow bit here, right, and the yellow area, it relates to your skills and your toolkit and your abilities to be able to cope. And if you've got lots of different strategies, and that's why I fill the academy with strategy after strategy after strategy after strategy for how to cope with different situations, and that's because I needed it. It's what I've learned. And the more skills you've got, the more you can go, that one will help me now. Or the dynamic between me and you, whoever me and you are, could be you and a relation, could be you and a friend, it could be you and a client. Right, which tactic would be the most helpful? So you build a really big toolkit and big toolbox, and then you don't get shocked, and then you are able to have more ways of being able to manage yourself and cope, and you're more able to deal with the issues that are cropping up. So it may mean that you are looking for a change and to add to your skills and your toolbox. So if somebody's really yellow here, right, it might mean that they've just got stuck with all the resources that they've got, right? And actually, and there's a lovely book called Who Moved My Cheese? I can't remember who it's by, but Who Moved My Cheese is a fabulous book. It's ever such a little book, and it's about two mice and somebody moves the cheese. And it's great about change. So this sometimes means that people have reached that point of, this is what I do and this is how I do it, and I'm now stuck. So that's the area that you would be looking at to be able to do, and maybe offering different ways of change. And if you're saying on the academy, there's lots of different ways that you can do that. So when we're looking at different reflex points and different reflex areas, I want to just come back to the simplicity of roughly how you might be able to put these together. It may have been, you know, I'm chart flipping here, so it might look complicated to you, but actually it's not. Claire, loving this. Got your charts at the foot reading conference. So useful to see how you reference them all together. Thank you, Claire. That was fabulous. And wasn't the foot reading conference amazing? We had Sam Bellier, we had Michio Kruchek, we had Christine Stormerfry, we had the amazing Jane Sheehan, and I spoke as well. And the buzz in the room was just brilliant. It was a great experience, and thank you very much to the guys who are supporting this today, because if you were at the foot reading conference, it's the same guys who are behind the scenes right now putting this together. So if I just hold up these three charts, these are the charts that you can use to be able to work out what is going on. Yeah? What is the behind the scenes issue that's going on here? So if the client comes in and says, and feel free to post a question like, how would you do it for this particular person or that condition? So if somebody came in and said that they were having problems, maybe let's just say something simple like their hips. So when we go into reflexology, we know that hips are down here. So the hip area is roughly where my finger is there. So we can see that these charts are colour coded. And it was lovely because a lovely tutor said to me, I always thought your charts are really pretty. I talk about your charts all the time to my students. I didn't realise they were colour coded. I was like, oh, it's fantastic. I'm so glad you didn't know, and now you do. So it's looking here is the hip. There it is. So you can see the hip area and the pelvis. So now we're looking and going, okay, so the pelvic area is in the red area. So where it says pelvis and abdominal cavity, that's the red area. So now let's switch to the chakra chart. So now we're going to look at the red area. Right, and now we're going to go, oh, red, that's the base, the root chakra. So you can see that that is to do with grounding and self-preservation. So this area here, all of this area that across here, this is all to do with practicality. Yeah. So this is like, I'm here on earth. How do I practically deal with that? What skills, what tactics, what self-preservation? How do I keep myself safe and grounded? So if I was flying off now into the fields of fancy, you'd probably know. But I need to keep myself, in order to be able to talk to you, I need to be able to keep myself down and grounded. And you can probably hear it in my voice, you know, that I'm down and grounded. So this is about this area here, right? And that's what's really, really important. So anybody who comes along, let's go back, they've got hip problems. Right, and we can be looking actually on the side charts as well. Yeah, so there, right, you could be doing that, is bringing that into the base chakra. So base chakra is all about the grounding. So now let's do, oh yes, that was a good point. That's my other chart, the 5 essential chart, which I can't find. Here we go. Well said. So it's easy to see it here on the 5 essentials chart. So this area being red. Such an important point, and that's why this incredibly gentle just heel hold is a real important thing to be able to do. So when we are talking about this area here, this is the area that is to do with the grounding, but everything that works from that is based on all of these chakras working in alignment. So I've got a little video which I want to put up so that you can see that as you make a change to one area and it's really important that you make an area to the love, it changes all of the others. So as you can see this, as it's moving, it's a bit like that Newton's cradle. As you change one, it changes another. So all of those chakras are all the way down the body. And if you make a difference to the love one, which is about heart, which is love, peace and acceptance, can you see how it starts to move things all the way? And it then ends up going all the way right down to, how do I connect here on earth, the red one? And how do I connect up into the heavens, the purple one? Right. So the most important one to be able to move is the love and the heart, but it transmits down into the grounding. And the more that we do our grounding, right, the more that will help people with their hips. But it starts with love. So I don't think I realised that when I brought out my first book, and this is all about how to love, 3 steps to enjoying life, right? This is all about, it's all about, you know, what do you love, what do you love about you, and different ways to be able to do that. This is the key. Yeah? Get yourself on the love highway so that you can then kick this one off. So the heart one, because it's the one in the middle, right, connect up to the heavens and down into the base one, so that when you come back to the pelvic area, it is about practicality, it is about the grounding mechanisms, and it is about moving forward. So a lot of people have a problem with their hips when they're going, moving forward to what? Yeah, how do I increase my flexibility? How do I adjust to looking at the whole way forward? It's just such an important thing to be able to progress yourself forward and to be able to think about, how do I do old age? But then if you look at the colours, and we look about red, yeah, right, red also means anger and embarrassed. So if they've got any redness around that heel area, they might be feeling a bit angry, or they might be feeling a bit embarrassed, or they're struggling with their hips because they have an element of anger or embarrassment about moving on, moving forward, and about flexibility and the fact I am here on planet Earth, and it is a weird and strange place. So the more that we can actually layer that information, the better it is, because you can actually start to be able to put it all together. Laura, let's just have a look. So many of my clients have very dry, hard skin in this area. Is this about things being out of alignment or not being grounded and not being connected? So first of all, Laura, when it's dry and hard skin, my way of connecting with that is maybe you're not quite in your flow. Yeah, because flow is about water. It's about the whole, whole of your system being well lubricated and being able to move, and the skin being soft and flexible. So maybe you're not quite in your flow, and maybe the things that you're having to do, right, don't settle. So when you're talking to your clients, there's some things in their life that I would say is that they're finding it difficult to be able to manage and to cope with. And it's definitely, in my view, about the grounding. How do I do this? What sort of life do I want to be living? What do I want to be doing, depending on whether it's right or whether it's left foot? And very practical issues, not the airy-fairy things that people can often find themselves floating off with. A lot of people who have hard skin or problems with their hips find that they find being just settled into their pelvic chakra is a bit tricky, and they can go off into what I call think mode. So we're going to make sure that those of you who are in the UK, we're going to make sure that we finish on time today, because we want to be able to do the clap for carers at 8 o'clock. So I'm going to finish in plenty of time to make sure that we can all, including me, can get out to be able to do the clap for carers. So that's going to be in just over 5 minutes that we'll be finishing. So if you do have any questions, pop them up for me. So let's go back. Actually, I do also want to say to you that you could do this for hands too. So you probably know that I'm into hand reflexology as well. You can do exactly the same for hands. What's the issue that's on their hands? What's the issue, if they've got a cut or a plaster, maybe they've got a mark on their foot, they've got a mark on their hand, whatever it is, you can do exactly the same, because you see that the charts are colour coded too, and so you can then do exactly the same reading on the charts as it is to going to be able to see that back into the foot reading, so into the hand reading. So if somebody's got a cut, you know, what finger is it on? You know, how does that relate? If somebody's been picking their hands, how does it relate? What colour is it on their hand? How does that relate to the chakras? And you can do exactly the same as you can on feet. So I will reference back to the feet charts. Amanda, how about injuries and problems with shins? Everything to do with shins, shin splints, shin pain is all base chakra. Shins are about being able to move forward, being able to run. And if there's some way that they want to run that isn't working, that is going to be, that will manifest as a problem with the shins. So maybe they want to be doing something in a slightly different way to the way that is being like accepted and they feel in their head they're allowed to do or can do and find their way to. So because I'm aware of the fact that we want to make sure that we can do, I can leave you with something hopefully really easy and simple. Whatever your client's got, whatever, and if you do want to take this further, I'm going to be running a much more in-depth class on this. So if you would like to take part in that class, then please just message me, just email me, courses@surix.com. And I will let you know when this course is coming up quite soon. So I'll ask the guys if they can pop that up later, courses@surix.com. Coming out of lockdown, mental health like depression, anxiety may be more significant. What do you advise focusing on? Nikki, that is such a really great question. Depression is literally a depressed energy. And it's about getting back into your energy and being who you are. Those of you who know my story know that I had colossal anxiety and depression, and I've had to find ways to get back in. So it's about supporting people to get back into their own way. And the crown base balance, literally, as a technique, just holding your fingers to do a crown base balance. Crown is why am I here? Base is how do I do it? And that's a really good technique. So let's just come back to doing this as well. So Nikki, you can see that this relates here. Crown, this is universal connection, so all the purple areas, right? Base is the red, and you want to make sure that you're doing all of the pelvic areas as well. So let's just keep it really simple. Your client comes in. What problem have they got? Where would you go to for that reflex point? What other reflex points might be helpful? Okay, so I'm going to go to whatever the reflex point is. Put your finger on whatever that reflex point is. Stop, breathe. What colour is that reflex point on a chart? So what colour does that relate to then? So I'm going to find the same colour. So which chakra is that then? What's the theme of that? And then look at the foot reading and find that same reflex location. Put your finger on the same place. Where is it? What's the horizontal? What's the vertical? Which is it? So I appreciate that it is a big subject, and obviously that's why I'm going to run a much more in-depth course, and we'll take it through lots and lots of different ways of being able to do it. But it's such a beautiful thing to be able to do, because when you can listen to your client and just be able to breathe through it all and then be able to go, that's the root of the issue there. I know you've come in with this. I think it might be about this. And if I focus on these techniques, I hope that that will help you to resolve that issue. So I would encourage you to be able to go through reflex points, moving to reflex points, going to foot reading points, going to look at the chakras, looking at the colours in foot reading and the colours in chakras, blend it all together, practice it, and absolutely have a wonderful, wonderful time. You are more than welcome to send questions in. I am going to be running that course because it is just such a wonderful thing, and I want to say thank you so much for joining me. Lots of love to everybody. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye.